Hillstead Museum in Farmington is an important cultural and recreational resource within easy reach of all the cities and towns in central Connecticut. Hillstead Museum is a place where art and nature flourish together, just as the family that designed this estate intended. Hillstead is a colonial revival house built at the turn of the 20th century and maintained just as it was when the family that built it lived here. Hillstead is their outstanding art collection. Hillstead is 150 acres of fields, trails, and scenic views. Hillstead is May Market and other seasonal events. Hillstead is also a beautiful sunken garden, the site of the annual Sunken Garden Poetry Festival. This program and the ones that follow are an invitation to attend this summer's series of poetry and music events.
The 26th season of the Sunken Garden Poetry Festival features Irish poetry and music on opening night, Sunday, May 27th, featuring Eamon Grennan and David McLaughlin. On Wednesday, June 20th, we welcome co-headliners Margaret Gibson and Molly Brown. On Wednesday, July 11th, Hillstead Museum is pleased to present the current United States Poet Laureate, Tracy K. Smith. Opening for Tracy K. Smith is the winner of the Sunken Garden Poetry Prize, Sean Ballard. On Wednesday, July 25th, is The Poetry of Our World, featuring co-headliners Solmaz Sharif and Javier Zamora. On Sunday, August 5th, is Closing Night with Young Poets Day, featuring Andrea Gibson with Fresh Voices student competition winners. People love the informality and outdoor setting of this festival. You can bring lawn chairs or blankets, pack a picnic, or buy dinner and wine from the vendors here. There's an hour of live music first, anything from jazz to folk to classical, and then you can hear some of the best poets in the country read poetry that is relevant and accessible. One of the country's leading poetry events, the festival introduces audience to U.S. and state poets laureate, Pulitzer Prize winners, and other major American poets in the intimate, informal setting of this historic garden. The festival's ongoing popularity is evidence that poetry still holds an important place in American culture, and that poetry has a unique power to remind us of our own common humanity.
Thank you, lovers and friends of poetry, for being here, Thank you, the Hillstead Museum and the Tupelo Press for making this book happen. I'm really excited to be here in this beautiful garden under the blazing sun and in front of all these beautiful faces. So, my Grammy acceptance speech ends there, and I will jump right into poems. News. There's an article on how to eat an apple, but I am eating a pear and thinking pear in Korean is a homonym for ship or boat and stomach. How MV Sewol sank, how Sewol means beyond the world and is homonymous with the passing time or life. It carried mostly young students on a school trip, told to wait in the stomach of Sewol while the captain and crew fled. Divers pull bodies, find a boy and a girl strapped together by life vests. Koreans wear yellow ribbons, unbury the young dead from the salts of too quick passing life. A letter pasted on a bottle atop the walls of their high school reads, "I have loved you for a year." Sewol, how did I love at 17? Lull the clot in my stomach. Watered with tears, the pit grew vines around my veins, and I coughed petals. I surrendered and cried, I love, and lived. I am sick of the smiling slices of pear. The right way to eat an apple is, top to bottom, swallow everything, waste nothing except seeds. A homonym for apple is apology. I am sorry, I say to the pear's core, to the seeds in the sunken belly.
And the first piece I'm going to read is the true story of the first encounter I had with poetry in any way, shape, or form. Poetry. It's Valentine's Day, 4th grade, Nathaniel Rochester School number 3. Today, we learn about poetry. Mrs. Edwards, our teacher, who is my age now, but very old then, has reached the unit in her teaching guide concerning rhyme and meter. But I already know what I need to know. Like a good kid, my body automatically squirms at the word. Why? Have I ever read a poem before this? No, neither has any other child in the class. But the word just has that sound about it, like vegetables, that makes us want to shove our hands in our pockets and pout. It's a grown-up word, a suck the fun from out of the room word, like behave. Every kid winces as if the lips of a dreaded aunt were upon them. Today, class, Mrs. Edwards says in that hopeful tone I've grown to use myself over the years, you will choose a Valentine and write them a poem. But no one loves anybody this morning. The word poetry has clammed our affection up. Mrs. Edwards, however, has this going for her. She comes prepared. She is the third teacher we've had so far this year. Our first grew ill or pregnant. Our second, young, idealistic, maybe fresh from college, only lasted a few days. We could smell her fear. She wanted to be our friend, which is the weakest thing a new teacher could ever do. One afternoon, in the middle of a lesson she knows we're not listening to, her voice begins to crack. Then she begins to sob. Her weeping eyes look out on a class that holds absolutely no pity. 20 odd smug faces asking, what are you doing here? She slams her book on the desk and runs. Pleasure buzzing among ourselves. In the war between grown-ups and kids, this day is a lock of Custer's scalp. Mrs. Edwards understands that the only things a 4th grade class will understand is respect, earned through a little unspecified fear. Some people have a voice that tells a kid, don't try it. Mrs. Edwards lets us hear this voice on her first day with us. This is why, for this new exercise, we will moan quietly in our heads and take out a sheet of paper. Poetry. Mrs. Edwards, not wanting to waste all morning on this, has taken pity on us by writing out a group of words on the blackboard that end in the letter S. Use the words on the board, she says, to write your poem. Give the poem to your Valentine. Or if you're too shy, to Mrs. Edwards, who will pin them unsigned on the bulletin board. Poetry. Our dumb pencils skate the paper. We shift in our seats. We sniffle. Bored. Why do they ask this stuff of us? What do they want to know? How nosy can you get? Out of the forced near silence, the low rumble of business in the other classrooms, the sound of fingers brushing away erased words, the awful tick of the wall clock come 4 lines into my head. SOS, I'm in a mess, and I need you, I must confess. Is that it? Is this what she wants? I'd rather be in gym class, bunched up in a corner with the rest of the skinny boys, fighting for our lives against the jocks in a game of dodgeball. Good, says Mrs. Edwards when she reads it. Where does it go? in some young girl's hand who couldn't care less, and I don't remember, and somehow, somewhere, deep in my wannabe, a soldier, fireman, doctor head. The woman. Daddy and I are in his Buick, stopped at a red light, when a young, shapely woman crosses our path. I'm 11 or 12 years old, maybe older, and I'm beginning to form secret opinions. These are the days when we don't really get along, but I keep my mouth shut as he tries to tell me things. I don't like him, but I want something. If I am in the car, it must be to protect my sister's and my shopping interests, except for a few personal items which he leaves to my mother. My father is the one who does all the grocery shopping at our house. He is the only dad we've ever heard of that does this. It is his way of controlling the purse strings. Plus, I think it is an excuse for him to get out of the house on weekends. Too bad for us, he tends to think of groceries as fuel. These are the days we are living partly off government surplus, powdered milk and powdered shame. Though we're kids, our tongues and stomachs must know what any foot soldier knows. We crave sweets, seasoning, and the occasional brand name. But we are living with a man who sleeps on the couch and thinks Ritz crackers are cookies. We have learned it's far better just to be in the store and grab than try to explain. We are in the car together. I am surrounded by the smell of grease on rags and the metal toolbox he keeps in the back seat. And though I love the Buick, I don't like him. I am the drunk at the rescue mission. He is the sermon you have to endure before you get to chow down. I am suffering in silence as he rattles on. These are my impatient days with him. The stuff I'm interested in. Atomic submarines, flying squirrels, the way a finger skims the surface of a horse chestnut, he cares nothing about. The woman crosses our path. Says my daddy. His eyes are a radar on her hips. Look at that heifer. Then the light changes, and off we sail with my father's unheard blessing sniffing at the heels of the woman's big legs. There is a sensation of stillness in the cab as the rest of the world glides by. I smell the pennies stuck to the bottom of the open glove compartment. For the moment, he thinks we're pals. We're not pals. I'm restless. He thinks we're friends. We're not friends. Sanctified. Here's the deal, according to my mother. My sister and I must go to church until we reach our teens, which is when we'll be old enough to make up our own minds. I'm 6 or 7 years old, my sister 10 or 11. I think my mother's reasoning has something loosely to do with bar mitzvahs, but it's one of those things you can't negotiate. My younger brother, Roosevelt, who squeals and cannot speak, and is a handful, goes only when she thinks he can use a laying on of hands. My daddy doesn't go. He hates church so much, we make up jokes about it. Tongues of lightning flickering down and catching the seat of his heathen pants as he strolls by the church. We laugh at him, but we envy the free pass my mother gives him every Sunday. The Sunday school she forces us to go to most of the time, the Gospel Tabernacle, is a missionary church run by plainly dressed, earnest white people. We're too young to know we are their mission. What we do know is that we hate the dressing up, the girly dresses and the monkey suits, the polite but brittle way they make us sit up straight in our seats, the way they make us expect us to memorize the Bible verses. But somehow, we'd be wise not to disappoint them, for they are God's deputies. So when my mother decides to take us to her black church one Sunday, we jump at the chance, at least for a while, as we readjust to the rougher surroundings. Her church is in a storefront, loud silk curtains across a plate glass window. Though the light's bare bulbs are on, it takes a second for our eyes to refocus. Here they call my mother sister. Both churches have an organ, but while the white church whispers, the black church growls. It pulls well-dressed women up into a sweat, and men in mohair to lose their silks and jackets. In a few fast measures, everyone's on their feet, screaming, moaning, arms flinging up as if they could grab hold of the robe and personally haul the Savior into the first row of folding chairs. For a few minutes, it's amusing to watch as my sister and I vote with our eyes which plump butt makes the best jar of fool's jelly. But things refuse to settle down. In fact, the church rocks with a noise we've never heard before. Why are they acting like this? Something in their dancing makes us worry if this is something we should be seeing, if someone's going to break in and catch us. This Jesus, they scream for, isn't the one our mother has been sending us away to visit. The poem I'm going to close with, and this is really about real estate. I just got a job teaching at University of Stony Brook, which I'll start in the fall. And I've been living the last 7 years teaching at the University of Missouri, Columbia, the middle of the state. And now I'm an old hand. My wife and I are on old hands at buying houses. We just bought a house in Long Island, in this little town called Center Moriches. But for the setting of this poem, called The White Couch, is actually the first time we ever bought anything. And up to that point, we were renters. We still rent our house in our apartment in the West Village. And, you know, stuff happens when you buy a house. The white couch that I found on the curb a door or two down from the new school in New York, just at the moment my wife and I were looking for furniture for our new house. This is how marriage works. Guy and gal fall in love. Gal moves in. The bachelor pad with the clean, white IKEA sofa is out. This is the way marriage works. Guy and gal buy house. Guy and gal fight over what should go in it. Both problems get settled in the street. I sit on the couch. The couch is mine. I grab my cell phone. I call my wife at work. I found the couch. I cannot move or we lose the couch. The couch is perfect. The couch is free. I wait for Sarah. I guard the couch. Don't touch the couch. Don't consider the couch. And now it starts to rain. I will not move from the couch. And now the sun goes down. I will not budge from the couch. Sarah arrives. The couch is perfect. The couch is free. We guard the couch. We are too weak to lift the couch. We are too few to carry the couch. We fear the rain will soak the couch. We are on the couch, but let's be real. It's New York City. We're easy pickings on the couch. A truck might roll by and take the couch. Maybe we're not meant to have this couch. Maybe we're not worthy. Maybe the Greek gods are having fun with us. Look at them, fools! They will not budge from the couch. Then the torrent, the East Village skinhead, the cops. We need a car to carry the couch. We need some ropes to tie down the couch. One of us must leave the couch. One of us must guard the couch. I am the one who leaves the couch. I am the one who looks for Sarah's mom, who gives me her key, who lends us her car. I am the one who walks the street searching for rope. Anyone who thinks New York never sleeps should search for rope after 9 p.m. I drift from grocery to magazine shop. What do they think I'm after? My friend, I need something heavier than twine. I examine package after package like a wine snob. Too thin, too short, not enough heft. Maybe they grunt at what I choose and wait for the headline tomorrow. Oh, yeah, that guy. Night has fallen on the couch. Rain is falling on the couch. My wife is sitting on the couch. What will happen next? How shall we lift the couch? How will we tie down the couch? How far will the couch go before it slips its strings and flies stone-like to the road? And who shall lie beneath the couch? And who shall sue us for this couch? This is when the doorman arrives. He's watched us find and guard the couch. He's watched us find a car to carry the couch. He sees us as we try to lift the couch. This is where the doorman arrives, like the woodchopper who breaks down the door and saves the red-hooded child, like the wand in the cartoon witch's hand that changes time, space, luck. This is the man who has the rope. This is the man who brings his muscles. And the couch is lifted to the roof of the tiny Chevy, and his rope becomes a tight fist of knots. And he tells us the story of how the couch landed on the curb just before I walked by, and how this happens all the time in the ex-East Bloc country he comes from. All this moving, he says. He says, this is living. This is life. Thank you. The song's called Twilight is the Hour. Twilight is the hour of the motherless child. Twilight is the hour of the motherless child. Another man gone down that lonesome mile. Twilight is the hour. The lamps in Bryant Park glow like fireflies. The windy floats under the trees. A group of poets sing the blues. They fill in the space where you ought to be. Twilight is the hour of the motherless child. Twilight is the hour of the motherless child. Another man gone down that lonesome mile. Twilight is the hour. There's a time we used to let things go. There are songs that we shake at danger. There's a way to wash a body down, even if he's a stranger. Twilight is the hour of the motherless child. Twilight is the hour of the motherless child. Another man gone down that lonesome mile. Twilight is the hour. There are words we used to follow us, a prayer to unjumble the mad universe. The poets breathe Trayvon into the wind. It could happen to you like it happened to him. Twilight is the hour of the motherless child. Twilight is the hour of the motherless child. Another